with some paranormal. Oh, let me get such a light here. I brought out some twinkle lights. I don't know if you can see that with all the artificial lighting I have right now because it is raining still. But I am back with some paranormal romantic reads for Valentine's Day. I've been so into fantasy lately. I don't know what it is. And none of these are new. They're ones I've read in the past that were really good. So let's dive right in. Oh, let's first start with the books I don't have. So one of them is Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. So the very first book I did not like, and I was like, why did people like this book? It's overrated. And it was about thorns and roses. So it was like Crowns of Thorns and Roses by her, and or something like that. But I didn't like it. I didn't get it. It was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. But it turns out she was with the wrong person. Spoiler alert. So before that, the second book was so much better. And then the third book came out last year. And I think the fourth one's coming out this year, I do believe. So I really need to read the third one. I'm really excited for it. It was a really good book. The second, just get through the first one because you'll be kind of lost. It is a book like you would be lost if you just started with the second one. But Mist and Fury is good. It's a good book. It's definitely new adult for a little bit more mature readers. And it's a little bit saucier, but it's a good fantasy. It's a good world. As the world develops, it's a lot better. It's a lot better world, but yeah. And I have read like about a third of the third one, so I'm kind of excited for that. But so far, Mist and Fury was definitely my favorite. The next one is Clockwork Angel, the Infernal Devices series. I read, and this is by Cassandra Clare. I read her other series and I just didn't get it. I didn't get the hype about it. It was an okay series. It was kind of like whatever. But then I read this one and it is so good. Who are these by? Tessa Gray. Okay, so this one is about Tessa. Yeah, I remember these. And there's kind of two love interests in this series. There's 3 of these books. They are along the lines, like they are the same type of world as her other main series or the TV series, which I do like the TV series about the main series, about Jake and Clary, but The Immortal Instruments is the original one, and then this one's The Infernal Devices. I prefer this one. I recommend this one so much more. Maybe it's because it's historical. I like it more. I'm really into historical stuff, but it's definitely fantasy. I love it. There's demons and angels and gods and half-breeds and all the little good stuff in this book. So if you're into paranormal fantasy reads, yeah, definitely check out this one. And I would class this as YA. It's pretty, yeah, definitely right up that edition. Now you can't talk about YA fantasy without mentioning Twilight. Let's get real. And I know a lot of people hated these books and they didn't like them and blah, 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 blah. And they didn't like the story, they didn't like the people, they didn't like the romance, but it's a good story. That's why it was so famous. Let's get real. Yeah, maybe not the best writing. Sometimes actually her writing was pretty good, but let's get real. There's a reason why they were so famous. So this one is a special 20th edition, and it is Twilight, and then this side is Life and Death. So it's the same story retold from a guy and girl's perspective swapped. Because I guess she got a lot of critic about the girl being weak or something like that, or a lot of criticism, so she wanted to prove it vice versa. I don't prefer the second story. It's okay, but or this is the 10th anniversary edition. But yeah, I read these books. My husband recommended them to me, but they were good. They're good books. I don't have any complaints about them. I liked when the movies came out. Still in the movies. There's nothing bad about these books, and if you like them, definitely go for it. Everybody knows what Twilight is. I'm not going to go too much in depth with that one. And then the next one is an adult series. So on the other end of the spectrum in TV land and movie land, there was True Blood. This is the very last book in the series by Charlaine Harris. This is Dead Ever After. This is the Sookie Stackhouse series. They don't call it True Blood. Or the author doesn't. She calls it the Sookie Stackhouse series. This is really about more of like one woman's perspective on love, because there is quite a few different romances she leads in the books. But they're really good books. They're really good adult books. I prefer this. I think I prefer Sookie to Bella, but they're good. I really like them, and there's a lot more depth. It just isn't like Twilight's like a little bit fantasy, right? It's got a little bit of vampires in it and stuff, and a little bit of something else, but this one has like it all. It's got the wolves, and it has like wolves and people that change into tigers, and fays, I think they call them, but they're like angel kind of people. But yeah, this one delves a little bit deeper into fantasy. It's definitely adult. It's definitely for a mature level of reading. It's not difficult reading per se, but definitely adult as far as like maturity wise. But everybody's heard of those too. So I'm not going to go too much into Suki's story. Oh, and then there's a few other movie ones. A lot of YA, fantasy, paranormal stuff gets made into movies apparently. This one, Red Riding Hood. This was made into a movie, and I liked the movie. It didn't become hugely popular, I don't think, but I liked the book too. I really liked the movie and the book. And it is a Red Riding Hood story about Henry, Valerie, and Peter. I like it. It's a triangle story, once again, of romance. But I really like this book. What is this? It's got to be like YA. Yeah, this is definitely YA, I think. But yeah, I really do like this one, and I really do recommend this one. And then another YA one, which got turned into a movie, and I didn't like the movie that much. It was okay. But it's The Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. These are hugely popular books, once again. They're good, though. I've read a lot of her other books, even some of her new ones, but these ones are my favorite romantic lead. She's one of my favorite fantasy paranormal authors. She writes romance really well, but about her romantic, and this one is like slow burn love. Well, maybe not slow burn for her, but it's like it takes a long time for this couple to get together. It's like the 4th or 5th book in this series, but it's really good. It's really done well. I like it. It's this girl is actually not a vampire. She protects vampires. She goes to an academy in the middle of Montana. I like the books, and I like the author. I especially recommend basically just the author. And then I have 2 more. One I did not have the book for, and it is a Steamy Raid. Can we say something? I don't know if I'll leave this in, but honestly rant about like steamier reads. In this category, which I've kind of read a lot of in the last couple of years, I didn't really get into this category until I was much older, I guess, in life. But this category, I've met so much more incorrect like grammar, and I'm not that good at grammar or syntax or sentence structure or whatever you want to call it. Like, I love writing, but that is not my forte by any means at all. But I can see like badly written stuff and badly written grammar in like the Steamy Read, erotica, romance, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of it gets put on a romance, and a lot of it's really not about love. Let's get real about that. But yeah, it just, I've hit so many more authors in this section who fall through on that and who fall through on plot. Like, there's no reason not to have some sort of plot. Like, I get that is the category of book it is in, but a lot of them don't have the character development or the plot. It just, there's something about every single category I could kind of rant on, like even historical romance or historical or whatever. You know, sometimes the characters get lost in those. But this category especially, I hit more and more just kind of bad writing and like bad plots and bad development and bad storylines, and just kind of a mixture of it all gets thrown into this category. There are some good authors in it, obviously, if I've kept reading this category a lot, but the Steamy Reads category. But yeah, it kind of gets, I get why people don't like to read it, because they kind of get lost in it, and it's just, some of it is really bad writing. Sorry, that's a bit of a rant. But one of the most romantic, like if you Google romantic series or romantic whatever, one of the most one is in that like Steamy Reads category is it's the Black Dagger Brotherhood, and that's what I'm going to recommend. It was recommended by me, by somebody kind of surprising, but it is a good storyline. But if you don't like Steamy Raid, just stay away from it. That's all I can say about it, because it's very saucy. And there's a new couple every scene, or every single book in the storyline. It's not like one character's journey, but it's a good like world she's developed. I'll say that. And the characters have some structure to them and have reasons behind their doing things, and they obviously all have like huge past because they're quite old people in the books. But yeah, I would definitely recommend those ones. Those ones were written well, the stories were thought out well, the characters were thought out well. If there's one in that category I could recommend, it would be in fantasy, apparently. And yeah, it's the Black Dagger Brotherhood. And then last but not least, let's go back to YA. Let's go to Cinder. This is somebody else's copy, because these are my copies that I just got, which is so exciting. I just got recently. But yeah, Cinder, The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. This is a fairy tale retelling, and there are some other fairy tale retellings, but I mean, this series packs in way more romances, so I had to choose this one. So the first one's about Cinderella. There's one about Rapunzel. There's one about Beauty and the Beast. And what was the second one? What was Scarlet about? Oh, Red Riding Hood. So they're all good. They're all cute romances. It's definitely YA. Good story retelling. I mean, they're not... my favorite retelling is a standalone book. But for me, the romance... it didn't just hit. It was good, but it wasn't the main part that I took away from the story. For these, it's definitely romance and YA. So yeah, check these ones out. These ones are really good. I only had 8 kind of fantasy romance because a lot of the fantasy game has to deal with, or paranormal game has a lot more to deal with the adventure in the story and the world they've created more than romance. Even if there are characters in it that are romantic, to me, the story's about so much more than that a lot of times. So yeah, these ones, I think, tried and true, are just about the romance mostly. But they're good paranormal fantasy books. So I hope you liked all those suggestions. A lot of them are quite popular. But yeah, I loved them. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. It'll be February 14th, so happy Valentine's Day. But yeah, it'll be my final, just like my top romantic reads across all categories. And yeah, next year I could definitely do other categories. I could definitely do them. So if you want me to, just tell me down below. Please subscribe down below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.